Pat, can you just talk about the defense you guys put together today? The offense was struggling a little bit, but you guys just came up big against Cam the whole night.
Yeah, I think that's the standard we hold ourselves to. Once we're out there on the field, we got to control what we got to control, and that's dominating every single snap. So I felt like we executed out there. Everybody was aligned. Everybody was sharp. We had a dominant performance. So it's something to build off of. Obviously, there was a few mistakes that we could correct, but starting off the season like that, this should allow us to separate ourselves further down the year.
Pat, how do you feel like you guys got more comfortable with what Cam was doing over the course of the game, especially in the second half? They struggled a little bit offensively, and then how did the pressure and coverage work together?
Yeah, I think the pressure and coverage goes hand in hand, right? We just sending different looks at him, different pressures, simulated pressures, giving him different disguises, and try to make it tough on him, Because Cam, he's a great quarterback. He's going to be a great quarterback in this league. So, we did what we had to do as far as giving him different looks, and obviously the front going to do what they do, and that's what they do. They're going to eat all the time. So, it was great how the D-line, the rush, and the coverage went hand in hand today. So.
Pat, it's one thing to be dominant, but when I think they crossed midfield 5 times and had 3 points out of it, and that one drive when it gets greasy, they're in field goal range, and then they lose 27 yards on 3 plays. Was it personal at that point that you guys were like, okay, there's no way we're going to lose this game based on a couple of mistakes, whether it was special teams or offense?
Yeah, like I said, we had situations where they was in our territory, and we had to find a way to capitalize. We had to find a way to get off the field. And, we always say to ourselves, if they get down there, they're not going to score. And holding them to a field goal is very key in this league, because that could separate a win and a loss, with how close the game was. So I think we was assigned to line and focus during those drives, knowing that, any error that we made could potentially result in a touchdown. So I think we were sharp when we had those opportunities out there on the field, and they was in our territory. So,
Pat, you talked about how important a fast start for the defense is to carry into the season. What about just getting the win and starting 1-0 this year? How important is that for the team?
Yeah, it's always important. Getting the win, that's all that matters. No matter how it looks, no matter how it may seem ugly, it may seem great, but a win is a win no matter what. So, obviously, like I said before, we got a lot to correct in the film room and get better at and learn from. We have a debrief session tomorrow, so we're gonna look at the film, see different areas we could correct on and fix that. At the end of the day, we got a long season ahead of us, but I'm very optimistic on what this team could be. So.
Hey, Pat, you mentioned that possession. I think it was after the fumble punt, but you pushed them back, out of field goal range.
Yeah.
Was there a conversation in that huddle, or what was the mindset going into that particular possession?
Doesn't matter. If they get the ball on the 1 by the goal line, if they get the ball on the 30-yard line in our territory, it doesn't matter. It just matters on what we do out there, and that's execute. And our pressure got there. Like I said before, man, every time we was out there on the field, the rushers were going to eat regardless. So that makes it easier for us in the back end. And, when we cover well in the back end as well, too, that results in sacks as well. So, like you said, when the defense ties in together and we go hand in hand, the result is great. And like I said before, man, this defense has the potential to be greater down the line. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
So it was still the fourth quarter, and the score was 13-12. Broncos country was getting a little antsy. Were you surprised that it would have been that close in the fourth?
I feel like week 1, you never know how the game may vary. Obviously, there's mistakes in week 1. You may see, certain series throughout the game where there's a lot of mistakes, but, that's part of football at the end of the day. We just got to learn and correct from it. But, it's NFL football at the end of the day. It's always going to be tough to go out there, and just get a secured victory, So we had to go out there and give it our best, and give our effort, each and every play. So, I'm just glad we got the win and, just keep on getting better and improving.
Pat, you talked about how the pressure and the coverage work hand in hand, but Nick Benito had a career high 9 pressures today. Do you get a sense for how dominant he is specifically when you're back there?
I mean, sure, as long as I know he's on the field, I'm very confident. I mean, his ability to disrupt games, his ability to affect the quarterback and change the whole situation of the game, man, I think it's pretty special and rare. With a guy with his structure, you know what I mean, it's just unbelievable the things that he could do. How he bend around the edge, how he generates pressures. I just sit back in awe and, just sit back and watch him go to work. I always say it makes my job easier. I be thinking in my head like it's a certain play clock. So I be thinking, what if it's 1 or 2 seconds, he's gonna get there somehow. So Nick Bonito, that's the type of player he is. So
Pat, to your left, you talked about when you're down in the red zone, one mistake could be a touchdown for them. How do you make it so that you've got the mentality of we're going to stop them instead of worrying about that or feeling the pressure of that moment? Where does that come from for you to embrace that sort of situation instead of folding from it?
Yeah, I think pressure makes diamonds. You know what I mean? We live up to that. That's our standard. No matter what goes on, of the pressure on us, we love that. And, that's something that we uphold. If we backed up, if it's a situation that we need, it always seems like we come through and make a play. So we talk about that. We work on it every day in certain situations, you know what I mean? So it's us getting in line and everybody doing their 111. And, that's what we did today.